reserved for winners only. That's worth $200,000. Bobby Allison's team that hasn't won in a year and a half sure would like to be on that program. So too would Morgan Shepherd. He's only won a single Grand National race, but it was here at Martinsville. And outside him, Richard Petty in the 43. He's running very, very strong, and his car is strong here at Martinsville. He's the winningest driver here. Dale Earnhardt, he's got 3 wins of the season. Another one here would certainly cement his 1985 season. Outside him, Tommy Ellis. He needs a win here for sure. That's a brand new team and is struggling, and a victory here would do well by him. But nobody needs to win more than this man, Bill Elliott. He has won 10 races in 1985, all on super speedways. Best finish on a short track so far? 5th. They've worked very hard. They need to win Martinsville. Outside him, Harry Gant. A lot of people think he's the sleeper. He's the one to watch. He won here in the spring. And we're certainly going to be watching and seeing from Rusty Wallace, Alugard Pontiac. We have an in-car camera in this automobile today that'll be showing you tremendous pictures of this 500-lap event. Outside him, Ronnie Bouchard, 1 career Grand National victory. He's driving for a team in turmoil that needs to win. Ricky Rudd hasn't won in over a year and a half. He, too, needs to get on that winner's circle program, and a victory here might help in that regard. Kyle Petty, outside him, never won a Grand National race, doing better than ever in his career. Thinks his chances are good at Martinsville. Darrell Waltrip, 86 points behind in the Grand National chase. This kind of racetrack is his kind of home turf. His team is very fired up. They think they've got a good shot. Outside him, Terry Labonte, the defending Winston Cup champion. His program is coming together despite the loss of a crew chief. And in front of Labonte, Neil Bonnet. He says he doesn't care about points. He just wants to win the race. And our pole sitter, Jeff Bodine. Well, they came into the 1985 season thinking they were going to dominate, yet they have not won a race in 1985. This is Bodine's best track. This is where they have the best chance. This team, too, needs to win at Martinsville. There's a lot of pressure and a lot at stake this afternoon.
From Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, the Goody 500 NASCAR Grand National Stock Car Race. A presentation of SETN, the Special Events Television Network. The Goody's 500 is brought to you by Goodyear, makers of the high-performance radial, the Eagle. And by Exxon, quality you can count on. And by Alugard. Look for and buy brands containing the Alugard premium quality antifreeze formula. Martinsville Speedway. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, this little half-mile racetrack has played host to the greatest stock car racing action of the last 30 years. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Joy with former Grand National champion Benny Parsons for today's running of the Goody's 500 Grand National Stock Car Race. Benny, we've seen some great action here over the years. It's been tight and it's been tough.
It has been tough. It appears the competitors are going to get a couple of breaks today, Mike, and both of them from the weather. It's overcast, and that means the temperature is going to be cooler, and the drivers are going to be able to enjoy some comfort out there instead of the physical abuse that they normally go through at Martinsville. The second thing is that the racetrack is going to be cooler, so therefore the tires ought to be able to get a better grip of the racetrack, and the cars hopefully will not slip and slide like they normally do at Martinsville.
This race takes on added importance as it gets late in the season. Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott fighting for the Winston Cup Championship. And of the top 10 spots on the starting grid, 5 of those drivers have yet to win their first race of 1985. One of those is the pole sitter, and he's with Dick Bergeron on pit road.
We're with the fastest man in the field, Jeff Bodine, on the pole. But, Jeff, being the fastest man doesn't guarantee victory here at Martinsville, does it?
It doesn't guarantee at any track. It does help to start up front. You don't have to come through traffic. You don't have to get banged up, wear your car out. But nothing guarantees you're going to win. We've got to stay out there for that 500 laps and be the first guy across the line.
Jeff Bodine, your pole sitter. Mike, Benny?
Jeff Bodine is a 10-time winner on this racetrack, 7 times in the NASCAR Modifieds, twice in Late Model Sportsman, and once in Grand National. But even that kind of enviable record doesn't put you in much stead when they drop the green flag here.
It doesn't, Mike, but Jeff Bodine needs to win so desperately. You mentioned a moment ago that 5 out of the top 10 have not won this year, and there's so many incentives for the teams to win in 1986 and they're running out of time. Jeff Bodine and several others are running out of time. Today may be their only opportunity for the rest of the year, and they've got to make the most of it.
And today could be a pivotal event in the chase for the Winston Cup. Darrell Waltrip fast closing on Bill Elliott, who's won the most events this season, but all of Elliott's victories have come on super speedways. And this is a short track. Waltrip's a short track specialist.
He is a specialist. At Richmond, the last short track, Darrell Waltrip won the race. Bill Elliott was terrible, finished 12th. Bill came to Martinsville, tested. He said, I've got to get better on the short tracks if I'm going to win the Winston Cup. In talking to the people on pit road, Bill Elliott is one of the better cars here today. He may turn it around. His short track program may finally come together today.
We'll take a look at Darrell, Bill, and the rest of the starting lineup right after this. There's Grand Marshal Ann Llewellyn Spencer riding in the Pontiac Sunbird convertible at the front of the field as we're set to go racing here in the Goodies 500. Rusty Wallace will be starting back in 7th spot, and there's the view from our SETN in-car camera in the Aluguard Spectrum Furniture Pontiac. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the richest short track race in NASCAR history. Jeff Bodine is on the pole in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, 90.5 miles per hour, new track qualifying record. He'll start next to third place point man Neil Bonnet in the Budweiser Chevrolet.
Starting third is Bonnet's teammate Darrell Waltrip, trying very hard for his 3rd Winston Cup championship. Outside him, Terry Labonte, the Piedmont Airlines Chevrolet, lost Dale Inman a couple of weeks ago. Will be interesting.
2 Fords in the 3rd row, Ricky Rudd of Chesapeake, Virginia, the Motorcraft Ford of Bud Moore. And the Wood brothers from nearby Stewart, Virginia, field the 711 Ford for this man, Kyle Petty.
Then comes Rusty Wallace in the Aluguard Pontiac. He will be carrying our camera today. Some good shots from his car. Outside him, Ron Bouchard, the Valvoline Buick. Ron is from Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
Here's the point leader, the man who could win $2 million this season, Bill Elliott in the Coors Ford Thunderbird. He'll start next to Harry Gant of Taylorsville, North Carolina in the Skoal Bandit Chevrolet. The rest of the starting field heads up with fastest second-day qualifier Dale Earnhardt, who'll share the 6th row with Tommy Ellis. Morgan Shepherd's in row 7 with the track's all-time winner, Richard Petty.
In row 8, we find Bobby Allison alongside Ken Schrader from Fenton, Missouri. In row 9 comes Tim Richmond, been running very well on the short tracks. Alongside him, he had Greg Sachs.
Buddy Baker and your younger brother, Phil Parsons, will share the 10th row. And in row 11, youngster Bobby Hillen and veteran driver from right here in Martinsville, Buddy Arrington.
In row 12, we find Dave Marcus. Alongside him, Jimmy Means in the Broadway Motors Pontiac. Row 13, Trevor Boyes, all the way from Canada, and Clark Dwyer from Colorado.
J.D. McDuffie will have the 14th row. He'll start alongside Bobby Walwack. Both veteran independents. Rookie Eddie Beerswall will share row 15 with Brent Elliott, and Lake Speed, added to the field as a provisional starter, will be the 31st car in line when they drop the green flag. Taking a look at the field as they roll past on the pace lap for the Goodies 500. There's our camera car, Rusty Wallace. You'll see pictures from that this afternoon. Many of these cars look awful pretty, but Martinsville's reputation, they won't look much like this when 500 laps are over here.
They certainly won't, and the sun has come out. The break that I talked about at the top of the show seems to be going away. There is some cloud, but right now it's bright sunshine.
Field comes past for the final time at this speed. Next time around, they'll be racing for a share of nearly $300,000, the richest short track race ever in NASCAR. There's Bodine on the pole, the yellow and white number 5 car, Bonnet outside. Darrell Waltrip right behind Bodine, and the green flag is dropped. The Goodies 500 is underway. Neil Bonnet got a good jump on the start, but Bodine just dives right in there, and a lot of contact already as Wallace gets into the side of Kyle Petty. On the back straightaway, Bonnet and Bodine are still side by side, and now Neil tucks in as they head for turn 3.
I think Neil Bonnet could have beaten Bodine to the first corner, except he was probably afraid to, because NASCAR wants the pole car to take the green flag first, and if Bonnet had beaten him in the corner, it probably would have been bad.
Single file through the first 8 or 9 spots. back to about 10th position. Bodine the leader, Bonnet second, Waltrip third. Fourth is Labonte, fifth is Ricky Rudd, in sixth is Rusty Wallace. Back straightaway. Seventh is Bill Elliott, eighth is Kyle Petty, as Bodine hauls him down into the corner once again.
Right now, everyone, there's a camera shot from inside the Rusty Wallace car. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot. Right now, Mike, all the drivers are simply feeling each other out to see who is the strongest, and there's no point in trying to pass right now because all you're going to move up is about 18 feet on the racetrack.
You see two different types of pavement used here at Martinsville. Concrete is that light-colored part of the surface in the corners. Originally, they just paved the low groove in concrete because the asphalt wouldn't withstand the pounding these 3,700-pound cars on the slick, very adhesive Goodyear racing tires would give the asphalt. It was tearing up. So they paved the bottom lane in concrete, and then a couple of years later, the second lane as well through the corners. And that really makes a difference in how you have to set the cars up to run this racetrack.
It does, because it seems as though the concrete gets a lot slippier than the asphalt did. But Rusty Wallace gets the car completely sideways coming off turn 4. Good job by Rusty.
You'll see as he gets down into the corner, the curbing on the left side, that's just like regular street curbing, and it keeps the cars off the infield grass, but you don't want to bump across it, or chances are you go sliding right up the racetrack and take a couple of other cars with you.
I think that's what happened to Rusty just a moment ago. I think he touched the curb with his left front tire, and he kicked the back end out.
Camera pans 180 degrees to show Bill Elliott, the Winston Cup point leader, who's running 7th right behind Wallace. And just behind Bill, you see Kyle Petty, Ron Bouchard, and Dale Earnhardt, the rest of the top 10.
Elliott had thoughts about going by, but he could not make it that time.
Jeff Bodine, the pole sitter, is the leader here. Neil Bonnet, Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte, the front 4. Bodine won his first Grand National race on this track and went on to win at Nashville. But this season, goose eggs. They've had some good top 5 finishes, but haven't been to victory lane.
It appears like Neil Bonnet in the 12 car is holding up Darrell Waltrip. Darrell driving the 11, the white car behind. It appears as though that Neil is a little bit slower than Darrell. But as I mentioned a moment ago, this early in the race, there's no point in taking a chance of hurting your car, bruising your car, simply to go up 18 feet.
Bonnet out-qualified Waltrip by only 2/100ths of a second. Changes made in the last practice session Saturday afternoon may have greatly changed the handling capabilities of these two cars. Here is Waltrip diving to the inside, nothing there. Bill Elliott takes a look underneath Rusty Wallace for 6th spot. Elliott in the 9 car. Wallace in car 2, the Pontiac. And there's the view out his front windshield at 5th place, Ricky Rudd in the Bud Moore Motorcraft Ford.
And we see Darrell Waltrip alongside Neil Bonnet just in front, going down the front straightaway side by side. Looks as though Darrell has the position. Yes, Neil has no shot except move over because Darrell had the position.
If you can run the low groove here, Benny, and get under a car coming down the front straightaway, he's pretty well stranded or hung out to dry, as we say on the outside.
There's nothing he can do, Mike, except relinquish the spot because you have it.
And then you need to try and tuck back in right away.
Yes. Because if you don't, the other cars are just going to come up, and pretty soon you can go back to 10th, 15th, 20th place. There's a spot, a good shot of Richard Petty. He has already suffered some pretty serious damage. I see the bumper hanging down the left rear of the car. Richard at Martinsville a couple of weeks ago ran very, very well. And I think that in Martinsville, just might be his opportunity to win on a short track for the first time in many years.
Richmond you referred to, I believe, where Petty finished 3rd just a couple of weeks back.
Yes.
Today's race at Martinsville, Virginia. Here's Bodine, the race leader, and he's opened up quite a margin on Waltrip, as Waltrip had been dueling with Neil Bonnet, and now you can see those two cars have pulled away from Bonnet in 3rd. Way loose comes Rusty Wallace in the 2 car again, but he saved it.
It looks like that he and Bill Elliott made some contact back in the corner.
Wallace may lose the 6th spot. He's got to give Elliott racing room on the inside. And again, he's fighting a very loose handling race car. You see Elliott go past, and also Kyle Petty moves up into the 7th spot. That'll kick Wallace back to 8th as they haul it back down into the corner once again. Kyle a little loose there, and Wallace has company on the inside. Ron Bouchard, and now Dale Earnhardt.
Just like you talked about a moment ago, look at Rusty Wallace on the outside. How's he going to get back inside? Because here comes Morgan Shepherd. And when Morgan gets by, Tommy Ellis is going to be there. So Rusty Wallace is going to lose about 7 or 8 spots just simply because he got outside one time.
Morgan Shepherd, the 00 Chevrolet, Tommy Ellison 18. And here's Earnhardt going for another spot on Ron Bouchard in 47. Earnhardt, the number 3 car, picking up another position on the racetrack. And that will move him up to 8th position.
Harry Gant has gotten by. Now Rusty is finally back on the inside of the racetrack, but not after he's lost about 6 or 7 spots.
Gant is now the 9th place car. As he moves up in the running order, you see Bouchard at the head of that pack, and here's Buddy Baker on pit road. Unscheduled stop this early in the race, looking at a problem with the rear end.
Well, really and truly, we see a lot of smoke under the back of the car.
And Baker may be out of the race with rear end trouble. Trouble as Richard Petty and Tim Richmond get together up in turn 3 rather. And Petty will limp across the curbing onto the grass out of harm's way. And
no caution flag.
Green flag will stay out.
Yes.
Richard bounces down off the curb and comes back to the racetrack. We'll see a lot of that today.
Yes, we will. And Richard is a lap down. The leaders just went by and put Richard a lap down. And that's a tough break. We see some pretty serious damage now on the left front as well as the left rear of Richard's car.
Buddy Baker is out with rear end trouble, and this track puts such a premium on rear ends and brakes.
It's so hard to keep the brakes on the car because we can see Jeff 09. He's coming down and into a flat corner. The bank is only 3-4 degrees, just enough for the water to come down. It's very difficult. The brakes is a big problem.
Leads Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, and Terry Labonte, the front 4. There's Bodine's crew chief, Harry Hyde, and Jeff's wife, Kathy, keeping the lap charts on pit road.
Mike, it's so difficult to see anyone with an advantage right now. Bodine, Earnhardt, and Waltrip running very close. There we see a right front tire smoking very badly. It looks like that wheel bearing has gone out on that automobile, probably caused by brakes.
3 cars are out of this race with brake trouble already. As once again we look at the leaders, and all 3 of those cars are working real well right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Right on the bottom of the racetrack. We see the back end on Earnhardt's car that time come out just a little bit. No big problem, but he is getting a little bit loose. Clark Dwyer has brought the 64 car in to examine that problem, and that's very smart that he did that.
Leaders lapped by Bobby Walwack, Superior Piping Buick, the number 74 car. Bodine takes it back down into the corner. Earnhardt, Waltrip gets up alongside the second-place car.
Waltrip's going to give him a shot on the inside. Walwack moves over, and Darrell has the spot. He has position. There's nothing Earnhardt can do except back off and let him go.
Earnhardt gave the lap car just a little bit too much room, and Waltrip was right there. Now here comes Earnhardt in the number 3 car fighting back on the outside.
Well, I said he was going to have to move over, but I don't know if he is or not. Yes, finally he gave way.
Had a little help.
Darrell came up the racetrack, and Earnhardt said, not yet.
J.D. McDuffie pulls to the inside and gets overlapped in the Rumpel Furniture car, and yes, they are cooling the brakes down on Clark Dwyer's machine. Look at the size of the brake caliper. It wraps almost halfway around the wheel, and even so, can't slow these 3,700-pound cars down and keep the brakes at a normal temperature.
Here we're going down the backstretch, and Rusty Wallace is all you got running. There's a blown engine, Mike, right in front of Rusty.
A lot of smoke out of one car, and you see Wallace wrestle the wheel to keep control as he goes through the oil.
He almost spun coming off turn 4 in that oil.
And it's Terry Labonte. You can see that snail trail of oil and water that follows him down behind the pit wall. Labonte, the defending Winston Cup champion, goes behind the wall. And more smoke as Eddie Beerswald spins his car coming off turn 4. That will bring out the caution. You see Neil Bonnet waving to the cars behind, indicating that the caution is out for everybody to slow down and take it easy coming through there.
Meanwhile, everybody's going to take this opportunity to pit. All the lead cars going in on pit road.
Here's Bodine on pit road. Now, last time he changed right side tires at his pit stop. This time he's going to change the left side tires at his stop. This is a perfectly normal pit stop, average sort of thing. Everybody behind him is doing the same. And there goes Bodine retaining the lead. Walter right outside and also changed left side tire.
Here's the view out the front of Rusty Wallace's car, getting the oil off his windshield, and Dick Berggren is with Labonte.
Terry, a lot of smoke, and here you are behind pit wall.
I really don't know what happened to it. The thing was working good. The car was really handling good and running good. Some let go in the engine. I don't really know what it was.
There's a happy Mississippi race fan. I don't know who he's pulling for.
At least he's pointing to the right place and waving to us too, Mike.
We're getting set for the restart. It is Bodine at the head of the field. Greg Sachs is the lap car to the inside, along with Ken Schrader.
Dale Earnhardt had a terrible pit stop that time. He was third going in and came out of the thing running about 10th spot.
Earnhardt will have a long way to go to fight his way back toward the front of the field. Labonte's the leader. Waltrip is second. Harry Gant rides in the third spot. Neil Bonnet is fourth. Rusty Wallace has the fifth position. There's a look at Wallace's car. As you see, Greg Sachs and Neil Bonnet on the right flailing away at one another down the back straightaway, heading for turn number 3.
And he's going in that turn about, when he starts deaccelerating to go in that turn, Mike, he's probably running 120 miles an hour. And he's got to stop that car. And that's why the brakes give so much trouble. It's just almost impossible to stop that car running that speed.
Neil Bonnet gave Greg Sachs a shot to move him over. Now, Sachs is a lapped car, moved to the inside, and Wallace is waving because the caution is out. Debris on the track again.
There's a headlight door. We can see there's the headlight door laying on the speedway, and it's just too unsafe for these other cars to be out there because they may puncture a tire on that debris. And we can see again all the cars on pit road get in tires.
Whenever a tire goes rolling down the racetrack, somebody didn't get the lug nuts on.
And that's so easy to do, Mike, because the cars are trying, the drivers are wanting to go so fast. When somebody lets the jack down, those cars leave. The lug nuts aren't tight, the wheel flies off.
Getting set for the restart. Cars on the lead lap up on the outside, and Rusty Wallace, you're riding with him behind Bobby Allison. Green flag as they hustle down into turn number 1. And they're running closer together than people park.
You're right. We saw Rusty upshifting through the transmission to get the car going. They restart in second gear. He shifted to third, then the fourth. Now, when they get to these turns, there is no downshifting. They just use the brakes to slow the car down.
On the straightaway, Wallace gets up to about 7,700 RPM before jumping off the throttle and onto the brakes to slow for the tight corners here at Martinsville.
Rush hour traffic. Look, those cars are just side by side. Darrell has jumped out to a good lead right now.
And driving in traffic here is kind of like driving in rush hour traffic on the highway. If you're in front of the pack, you don't have to use your brakes. You can pick what lane you want to run, where you want to go. But if you're behind a bunch of cars that are running slower than you want to, you're on the brake a lot to slow down, and there's a car in the wall. It is your brother.
Phil has backed the car in the wall, knocked the rear bumper completely off the car. We can see the tire marks going up to the wall. And look, the right front tire is down on the right side of that car. And it looks like he probably had a flat tire before he hit the wall.
Bill Parsons in the fence. Limps that car down to the inside of the racetrack. He'll get it around to pit road. Bodine, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Gant, Allison, Bonnet, and Elliott. Then Bouchard, Kyle Petty. And half the field is on the pit road, led by Ricky Rudd.
Phil, it looked like a pretty hard hit.
It really wasn't that bad. I cut a tire down as I went to turn 1, and as soon as it did, it shot off toward the wall, and I locked the brakes up. So I thought I had a shot at even missing the wall, but it just kept sliding a little bit, just flattened. It wasn't really that hard. It probably tore the car up, but as far as inside here, it wasn't that hard to hit.
Phil, how is the racetrack? What kind of shape is it in?
It's in pretty good shape, really. You know, it's not getting all real slick or anything. I think it's just a good racetrack.
Getting set for the restart once again. Pace car is off, and Bodine leads them down to the green. Once again, Sachs is on the inside, trying to get his lap back and get on the lead lap. Waltrip second, Earnhardt is third as they come off turn 2. Gant's in the fourth spot. Neil Bonnet rides fifth.
Jeff Bodine's been making a good run all day, Mike. And here again, the shot from inside Rusty Wallace's car. Getting some great shots from Rusty from inside that all-you-got Pontiac today.
That remote control in-car camera riding with Rusty Wallace as he comes down the back straightaway and heads for turn number 3 here at Martinsville. Long straightaways, tight turns, and flat turns as you can see him come off the corner. Important, too, is that curbing that you'll see come up way on the left side. It's just like the curbing on a highway. You bounce over that, and you're going to damage the car.
Greg Sachs has spun. He and Bobby Allison made contact. Sachs has spun right in front of Rusty Wallace.
And a good job of Wallace of cutting that wheel sharply to the right to miss it. Puts us under caution again.
Wow, that was close for Bobby, and here we see it again. Looks like the Greg Sachs car, Mike, just gets the back end out a little bit, and when he backs off the throttle to straighten the car out, Bobby nails him right in the rear end and turns the car, the 77 car, around.
And Allison keeps his foot in the throttle. He knows if he lets up, Wallace is going to be right in the back of him.
There's going to be another wreck, that's right.
There was a wreck on pit road. Jeff Bodine, Neil Bonnet, and Richard Petty tangled on the pit road trying to get out of the pits. And Richard will have to limp around. Looks like he's going to have to come back in with the front end pointing in different directions.
He's going awful slow around there. I can't see any problem on the left side of the car why we'd be going as slow as he is, because
oh yeah.
I see.
Front end is towed out. It's definitely pigeon-toed. Not pigeon-toed, but it's pointing one wheel at the grandstand and one wheel at the infield.
He has had some serious damage.
Richard Petty's car is really well beaten up. The left rear quarter, right front quarter, left front quarter are all well pushed in. Even in the pits here, very, very slow. Crew now looking over the car, trying to decide what, if anything, can be done to repair it. That right front wheel is really out of kilter. Richard Petty in very serious trouble, going to go behind the wall.
Tim Richmond leads Darrell Waltrip and Harry Gant down the front straightaway. Neil Bonnet and Dale Earnhardt complete the top 5.
Looking at Tim Richmond's car, it certainly does look like it's a potential winner, but with the right front fender knocked up the way it is. But the car is sticking on the bottom of the racetrack and getting around the racetrack, doing a good job right now, and he can win, even looking that way.
Good thing aerodynamics are not critical here on the short track.
Exactly right. They play no part in this. Gear, brakes, gear, engine are important.
Jeff Bodine has come back on the racetrack in 6th spot after pit stops. Ricky Rudd rides in 7th.
Well, I'm with Raymond Beadle. He owns the car that's in the lead right now. The team, by the way, calls this car Samson. It's been so beat up. It is the oldest Grand National car. It was the first downsized car ever built. It's been rebuilt half a dozen times. Raymond, old Samson's doing well for you today, isn't she?
Yeah, well, the old Milwaukee car's been doing pretty good. We had a little incident earlier when we got in with Richard Petty, the SCP car. But hopefully we can hold her on, have a little bit of luck today, and hopefully maybe we'll win one.
How are your brakes, Raymond? Do you still have good brakes on the car?
Yeah, so far he said he's starting to stable a little bit, but so far we haven't had any brake problems at all.
Here's Richard Petty, and he's had just about every kind of problem today that you could have. The front end still looks pretty good on that car, but take a look around the other end.
And they have made the repairs, and he's back on the racetrack trying to get more points.
Up front, Richmond in 27 leads Waltrip. Harry Gant a little bit further back. Heavy race traffic.
Waltrip is alongside Richmond.
He's got a shot for the lead here in the corner. Richmond has to give him some racing room. Waltrip on the inside. Now that should be the fast way around the racetrack.
He should have him, but Richmond, it keeps coming back down the straightaway.
Into the corner once again, lapped car, Bobby Wawak, and Richmond stays tight against the lapped car, but it moves way over and gives Waltrip and Richmond a lot of room.
Wawak moved over. Tim Richmond was trying to use the 74 as a pick, just like a basketball team would, but the 74 car moved on him and took his advantage away.
Moving up on Bobby Allison's car. Excuse me, yes, that is Allison's car. They're moving up on Waltrip on the inside, and Richmond is a little bit high there. Still side by side.
Boy, this is great racing, Mike. This is very exciting, and the fans are on their feet enjoying every moment of it.
And Harry Gant is right there, the third-place car. Richmond gets way high coming off turn 2, and he'll lose the lead to Waltrip.
Boy, that was perseverance on Darrell's part, I tell you what, and Tim Richmond just refused to give up. And Harry Gant's trying to get alongside Richmond coming off turn 4 now. Richmond had better get back into the groove, or Gant is going to be underneath him for second spot. Here's another look at Wallace's car down the back straightaway, and that does not sound good. He's blown it up. He has. The car is smoking. He's blown the engine in the car. He's trying to keep the car off the wall right now. Does a good job of that, but he has blown the engine, and we can see the yellow flag waving. The caution flag is out for the oil out of his car. And smoke in the cockpit of Rusty Wallace's car, so a tough break for the Cliff Stewart-owned Spectrum Furniture Al Ugard Pontiac. It gave us some great pictures today from the in-car camera. Those pictures were spectacular today. This is one, and Bodine is smoking. This looks like a serious problem for Jeff Bodine. And they're not they're just casually walking up to the car. He must have radioed. They're raising the hood. He must have radioed and told me he had serious problems.
Dick Berger is with Rusty.
Well, we're sorry to see you behind the wall, Rusty, but we sure thank you for the fine pictures that you gave us. What did happen with your car?
Well, it's just that for the engine finally blew up is what happened, Dick. The car was handling well at the beginning of the race. The last time we got a bad set of tires, and that's what put us behind a little bit, but the forever-ending problem of engine blowing, it's just, it's been plaguing us all year long, and it's happened again. Sorry to see it, because we're trying to make a comeback, you know, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen, so we're working real hard trying to make it happen now.
It looked like for the last 25 or 30 laps, the back end of the car was trying to lead the front end. Was it a tough drive for you, Rusty?
It sure was. It's very hard. You know, I was driving while I was worth the car was just very, very loose, and it was just a bad set of tires. The tire stagger went away. And perhaps I was locking the rear wheels up because of the braking. I think maybe I might have glazed up a set of front brake pads causing that, but we'll be back. But it's got to be the most frustrating thing there ever was. The sophomore jinx has sure stuck it.
Well, Rusty Wallace will be back next year with his team, but right now, unfortunately, the oil and water from this engine is running right under our feet as we speak to you.
Tough break for Wallace. He is out of the race, but the light is out on the safety car, and Harry Gant was the first car off pit road. He'll lead them down to the green flag.
And Kyle Petty is alongside trying to get one of his laps back. The inside line, again, can, if they're one or more laps down, can move up. That's what Kyle Petty has done, trying to get one of his laps back.
And here comes Ricky Rudd way up the inside. Rudd is 2 laps down, trying to get one of his back down to turn 1, and Kyle just wails into the back end of Waltrip's car.
Wow, and there's Bill Elliott rides over the back of Richard Petty's car. Lots and lots of cars involved in that.
And there are the leaders in the Winston Cup point chase. Elliott against the wall hard, and Waltrip down in the infield grass.
But Darrell has his car moving again, and the damage doesn't look severe to Darrell's car.
Waltrip pulls away, and there's Elliott moving away, and his car is all messed up.
But yeah, there does look like some serious damage to Bill's car.
And here's Darrell Waltrip in the pit area. He almost overshot the pits, but not quite. Junior Johnson is working on the right side of the car, pulling sheet metal out, while the crew is in the process of changing the left side tires. Waltrip with obvious left rear corner damage. His car is nowhere nearly as badly damaged as is Elliott's car, and Waltrip is off already.
Here's another look at it. You see Gant leading the field. Rudd moves inside of Kyle Petty, and Kyle just doesn't appear to slow down.
No, I don't know if he's trying to beat Ricky in the corner or if brakes failed or what, but he runs right in the back of Darrell's car, and Darrell is spinning across the racetrack, leaves no place for the other cars to go. They try to stop. The cars behind them can't stop, and bam, just mass confusion.
Here comes Kyle Petty. Ricky Rudd gets up into Richard Petty. Earnhardt, the 3 car, just squeaks by on the outside. Elliott's got nowhere to go. He climbs up and over Richard Petty's car and smacks into the wall. So there sit the 2 leaders in the point chase as the rest of the field hustles past.
But Darrell was the lucky one in this situation because he was able to get going.
Okay, here's Bill Elliott on pit road. Boy, this car is really bent up. The left front fenders and the left front tire. There's definite damage in the left rear corner of the car. Oh, this is a shame. Even the oil cooler on that car is well pushed back. They have really got their work cut out for them to get this thing back on the racetrack again. Elliott trying to move the steering wheel back and forth to see if everything works or not. It does, but barely. Until then, Elliott had gone virtually trouble-free all day. There was hardly a mark on his race car.
And Benny, it's about the best that Bill Elliott has run on a short track this season.
Yes, I really felt like that Bill had his operation in pretty good shape. Here, another replay.
Now, this is from way low in turn number 1. SETN has a camera right on the turn 1 wall. You see the initial impact, and now look and see if you can find a place for the 9-car Bill Elliott to go as the track fills up with race cars.
There is no place to go. He just has to keep going out, and finally he runs over the right rear tire of Richard Petty's car and into the wall.
Dan Elliott works on the car. Elliott's car climbed up and over Richard Petty, and that impact was enough to knock Richard out of the race.
Well, Richard Petty's just climbed out of his car, heading for the driver's lounge to change. It's been a tough day, hasn't it?
Been tough on a lot of them, been tougher on me, I guess. Got in 3 or 4 wrecks. Finally, the clutch come out, things. So just not been 1 hour good day.
And you can't run here without a clutch at all.
No, it kind of spins the motor, but the wheels don't spin, so we didn't go very far.
Why has there been so much contact today, Richard?
You'll have to talk to the rest of them. They hit me, I didn't hit nobody.
Richard Petty disappointed to be out today.
Well, it's true, Ben.
Richards' car, the front end of Richards' car was unscathed, but the rest of it was a mess.
Every corner possible was hit. But you're right, he didn't hit anybody. Tim Richmond has the lead right now, passes Ron Bouchard. Harry Gant, second place.
We're back under green at Martinsville, Virginia, the Goody's 500. Richmond working his way through race traffic, pulling up on the back bumper of Kyle Petty, who initiated that jam session down in turns 1 and 2 that brought out the caution flag. Earnhardt is there, so too is Harry Gant. And Earnhardt gets roughed up by Gant as they come off the corner.
They used the pick on the outside. Harry Gant used the Ron Bouchard pick on the outside that time.
Earnhardt and Gant are battling for position. Waltrip is right there. He did not lose a lap in that accident. The team was able to make repairs and get him back on the speedway and keep him on the lead lap.
Very fortunate. And, you know, it's amazing just how quickly the fortunes can turn in Winston Cup Grand National Racing. It looked like a couple of races ago, Bill Elliott was a walk away for the Winston Cup Championship. But now, who knows?
Darrell Waltrip trying to track down Dale Earnhardt, the race leader in the Goody's 500. There's Earnhardt's number 3 car pulling up at the back end of Lake Speed.
He has quite an advantage unless there's a caution flag. Darrell Waltrip, I don't believe, is going to catch him.
Earnhardt, his car showing the battle scars of half-mile racing, works around Lake Speed's car. And here is Waltrip coming off the corner. He's about a straightaway behind.
And we saw Darrell Waltrip fighting the steering wheel just a moment ago. He's losing some of the handle.
Harry Gant's the third-place car. They're all on the lead lap. 1 lap down, Ricky Rudd is fourth on a lap by himself. Kyle Petty, Ron Bouchard, and Tim Richmond are 2 laps behind. That takes you back to 7th spot.
And Bobby Hillin is spun. That's the car that Darrell Waltrip was just overtaking and putting the lap down. Spun going in turn 3. The caution is out. Now, what's everyone going to do?
The caution is out with 6 laps to go.
What strategy are the teams going to use right now? That's the question mark now.
Well, Waltrip benefits doubly. First off, that Hillin did not collect Waltrip when he spun, and also that now Darrell will come to pit road. Earnhardt does not. Earnhardt stays on the racetrack.
Darrell Waltrip is changing left sides, which means that he's going to try to really make a run at Earnhardt the last few laps. Harry Gant did not pit the last time, but he is coming in this time.
Here's Harry Gant on pit road. They have been looking for an opportunity to change tires. They're not going to have much of an opportunity to make up some time. Here is Gant on pit road with the tire change he wanted. But my goodness, he's going to have some real problems catching up with Dale Earnhardt.
And they were making a very serious chassis adjustment just as they let the car down. That's one reason they had to hold up and wasn't able to get back on the racetrack was for the chassis adjustment. And Harry's caught in traffic back there and cannot get up to Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip.
As one of the cars on the lead lap, he should be able to come up around the outside.
He made it. He's up behind Darrell Waltrip. Right now we have a real shootout. 4 laps to go. It's anybody's race right now. Earnhardt stayed on the racetrack.
Very, very slow, the pace up in turn number 3. Earnhardt wants to really slingshot the field, and he's hard on the throttle. Here comes Earnhardt down to the start-finish line. 4 laps to go. Earnhardt, Waltrip, and Gant to settle the Goody's 500. Behind them is Rudd, 1 lap down. Off turn number 2, and Gant is not going.
No.
He drops to the inside.
He goes to the inside. Waltrip ought to have an advantage with those new left side tires, but Earnhardt's car doing a good job with tires. 3 laps to go. Earnhardt's car is doing a great job, Mike, with tires that are worn, staying low on the racetrack.
And Harry Gant is just holding on. Something is wrong with that car, but he will stay on the racetrack and try to finish these last 3 laps so as not to lose 3rd spot to Ricky Rudd. Waltrip puts the snout of his Chevrolet right up under the rear bumper of Earnhardt as they come off the corner and down the front straightaway.
2 laps to go, and we can see how serious Dale Earnhardt is. He came off that corner, and they put Harry Gant a lap down. But Earnhardt, Waltrip runs across the curb. He's alongside Dale. No, Earnhardt, they touched down the back straightaway.
They didn't just touch, they rammed and jammed down into the corner. Waltrip again applies the bumper to Earnhardt. Gant now a lap down will have to fight off Ricky Rudd for 3rd, and there's 1 lap to go.
Earnhardt had Darrell Waltrip was alongside Dale Earnhardt just a moment ago. Can he do it again?
Last chance for Waltrip will be at turns 3 and 4. Earnhardt takes them into the corner. Waltrip will be looking low. They're both right down before, late getting on the throttle, and Waltrip has no place to go. Earnhardt wins the Goody's 500. His fourth victory of 1985 and the 14th of his Winston Cup career.
I wonder if Darrell is congratulating Earnhardt.
I kind of doubt it. Earnhardt, with a wave to the crowd, has picked up his fourth win of the season. Look at the straight marks up and down the side of that car. Waltrip is second. Gant holds off Ricky Rudd for third. And Kyle Petty, there the number 7 car, winds up fifth ahead of Ron Bouchard, their sixth place Bouchard. Dale Earnhardt has won the Goody's 500, and Benny, it was a typical cramming and bamming show.
It really was a typical Martinsville show, good competitive show.
Dale, quite a last 5 laps.
Well, it was. You know, that was a pretty risky call we did there at the end. We didn't stop and get tires, and we knew it was going to be close. I didn't know I could hold Darrell off, but I had to keep him down low. I did everything I could to keep him back there. He did everything good to get by him. It was a good race.
How about the pass on Tim Richmond?
What about it?
Well, it looked like a pretty rough deal.
I know nothing rough about it.
Dale Earnhardt here in victory lane. Side of his car is bashed a little bit, but he certainly is happy to be here for yet another victory at Martinsville.
Well, you've said many times, Benny, it looks an awful lot different from the cockpit than it does watching it up here.
I'm sure that Earnhardt and Tim Richmond thought there was nothing unusual at all about that move. And here is the move that won the race for Dale Earnhardt. This is a couple of laps to go. Darrell Waltrip pushing him. He's trying to get by Earnhardt, trying to keep him back. They come off the second corner. Darrell gets a great jump, gets alongside. Earnhardt they get together. Earnhardt runs Darrell down to the inside, and Darrell had no choice except back off.
If Waltrip had gotten underneath Earnhardt, the race would have had a different outcome. 1 lap to go. Waltrip has just one more chance at it at each end of the speedway, and Earnhardt is right down hugging the curbing. There's no opportunity for Waltrip to get underneath.
Exactly. That's what Earnhardt did. He just kept it on the bottom of the racetrack and forced Darrell to go outside. And there's no way that Waltrip here, there's no way that Waltrip can go outside and pass the car as fast as Earnhardt.
Darrell Waltrip ends up just a car length shy of the checkered flag. He's with Dick Berggren.
Darrell, you got a nose under him a couple of times, but not quite good enough to take it away from Dale Earnhardt.
No, I guess not.
But the car ran well for you.
It did. It did real good. When I got in that wreck up there, it bent all the steering linkage up under the car, and I went over the big curb and drug the linkage up against the oil pan, I guess. I couldn't hardly steer the thing, but nevertheless, track wasn't big enough for the way we was racing there at the end.
You must be counting points on Bill Elliott, though.
Well, we gained a lot, and, we had a good day, and that's all. That's what we're thankful for. We had a good day, and you can't. Looks like it's hard to win races and championships. You're going to have to make up your mind which one you want and go after that, I guess.
Well, Dale Earnhardt rides around the track waving to the fan and talking with Motor Racing Network Ned Jarrett on radio. And Benny, that's so true. He could have won the race, but then again, he might have ended up in the fence and not got his second-place point.
Dick Berggren is with third-place finisher Harry Gant.
Well, Harry Gant ran well all day, but in the end, it really wasn't there this time.
Yeah, we sort of disappointed run that good and then not be able to race them the last laps because we was fast as Darrell and Darrell and Dale, but we just overreacted on our tire stagger and stuff, and we just got bad tires, and we just didn't go nowhere. So I would have loved to have been there. We should have been there. After running that much all day, we should have been there to race for the win, But we just got just too bad a set of tires. Then we had one flat.
There are the folks from Goody's with Dale Earnhardt.